Okay, hello and welcome to a new episode of The Ramp. Today we are super excited because we have once again Johannes Sundlo with us, the legendary Johannes Sundlo, Mr. AI in HR. Johannes, great to have you back on The Ramp.
Thank you for inviting me back. I mean, it's an honor to be back as well.
Want to kick this off with a question about what you've written, which is super nice to have you as a guest, Johannes, because you've published so much, so it's not easy to do research. But you wrote that in HR we have a problem, and that most HR professionals are using bad models. For example, a free version of ChatGPT. And what do you see as the biggest gap between what most practitioners have access to and what the real tools can actually do?
I mean, if you look at the frontier models, with frontier models, I mean the latest and greatest models from Anthropic, from OpenAI, from Google to some extent, even though they're slightly behind right now compared to the two that I just mentioned. But the biggest discrepancy is that people still make assumptions, or they use AI, but they use the wrong model. They're not active in their model selection, meaning that, for example, if you are a Copilot user, which I assume a lot of people are, if you choose the default model in Copilot, you're using a model that is 6, 7, 8 months old. And obviously that will give another impression of the capabilities, because as mentioned, things are moving so fast. So if we look at the models that were released late last year, which at the time was fantastic, they were great. But even so, if we look at the models we have available today, they're better, but they're more proficient as well. And to give a concrete example of that, I mean, we worked with a government body in Sweden. They used Copilot, and we made a shift. It was a couple of weeks back, so now we have even, like, once again talking about speed. Back then, the prime model was ChatGPT 5.4, and the prior model was 5.3. Then obviously, but just switching between the two, they were a lawyer-heavy organization, and the lawyers went in and tried the same prompt, the same problem that they had with 5.3 and 5.4. And the difference was insane. 5.3 hallucinated, it made up stuff, it wasn't right, while 5.4 just nailed it. And this was problems or tasks that they knew by heart, that they could truly define that this is right and that this is the wrong answer. So just by shifting the model, you got the right answer. But once again, people are not active in this selection usually. They just go with the flow and they choose the model that the model company is choosing for them. Or if you're on the free version, you just let ChatGPT select the model that they deem suitable. Hence, you get a less capable model. If you take it one step further, the capabilities of, for example, such thing as Claude Cowork or ChatGPT's Codex, if you start connecting your data streams into these tools, and if you let them roam freely, I mean, I know there are securities issues with that, but if you let them roam more freely, at least within the organization, I mean, they are marvelous, almost black magic tools where I still find my way, or still find myself being awestruck by the capabilities.
I also listened to your webinar this week saying that 4.7 isn't hallucinating a bit, or it's not as stable, and 5.5 of ChatGPT is leading at the moment. And I like being a CEO and making these investments across the company. And 1 month ago, we made the decision, okay, let's do research. We press play on Claude. Let's do full rollout for 60 employees. And then you sort of listen to your webinar and like, god damn, what's happening now? I think this will be a race, right? But I think it's important, right? Because it's quite substantial investment. It will be a lot of the OpEx for companies moving forward will be a technology investment. So how to make the right move? So what are your recommendations for the people making those decisions?
So my recommendation is to go with one model from one of the major players and stick with that for at least 12 months. They are all playing catch up at times, and as mentioned, now Claude has been the model for 4 months roughly, since I would say since December or just before Christmas up until now. It's been the model that everyone is using, that everyone is talking about. If you look at the frontier people, and if you look at the sentiment from mainly Silicon Valley, it's been Claude that people are using. And now, since 4.7 was released and 5.5 was released, they were released within a week of each other.
Mm.
The sentiment is shifting once again, so people are now moving back over to ChatGPT. And you could see it written in the stars that this was bound to happen, that ChatGPT would bounce back. So my best advice is to choose one model and stick with it, but then also be a bit out and about, trying, testing different models as well. Is this solving our problems? But think more from a problem perspective. What problems are we trying to solve? What's our current tech stack? If you're a Microsoft customer, yeah, it makes sense to use Copilot to some extent. If you're a Google customer, of course, it makes sense to use Google's products, but be a bit flexible as well. Don't have a fixed mindset on we will use Microsoft forever or we'll use Google forever. Be a bit out and about and try and test and see what works for us.
Cool. On the full stack HR podcast earlier this year, you described a dynamic where 50% of hiring managers use AI to screen candidates and 70% of candidates use AI to write applications. So people often talk about this as two AIs playing chess, neither realizing it. So what do you see breaking first in that system?
But I mean, eventually we will have to find something else. That's my firm belief. Right now, what's happening is that you have this strange dynamic where people are using AI to apply for work, and people on the other end is using AI to see who's fit for work as well. So I think eventually we will need to invent something else. And also, I think there's a compression happening in regards to AI, where a CV is a poor container for that, basically. Where if you look at Lovable, for example, people who are leaving Lovable, they're starting amazing companies, and they have a premium on their CV, even though they only work for Lovable for 3 to 4, 5, 6 months. Because you can do so much more, and it's assumed that AI can compress that time, and we need to challenge what knowledge means in a way that we haven't done before. Because once again, what used to take someone maybe 2-3 years to accumulate, you can now accumulate faster, and we haven't caught up on that yet. And it will, I think, long term, it will challenge what knowledge is. The CV will be challenged in ways, because who knows what can a CV tell you about what I know and don't know? And if you're proficient in using AI technology today, are you better or worse off than anyone else? What's knowledge? How do you validate that knowledge? It's going to be super hard. So I think that we will need to invent something else. That said, I mean, it's not the first time we say that in HR. So who knows? But it's tricky right now. It's truly tricky as well. But on one end, I also think that we exaggerate how much AI is playing a role in recruitment, because most companies, at least most big companies that I work with and that I know of, they don't use AI to even sort CVs, because they're not allowed. And we have this EU AI Act coming up as well. We're not allowed to make judgment calls based on AI. So I think we sometimes overestimate as well the use of AI in recruitment. I think it's a lot of still for the specifics in regards to hiring. It's still people doing that.
Do you see any good alternatives to the CV or like the interview process? We find that especially when you do, I don't know, cases, especially for business type of role, design a go-to-market strategy for this company, and then you see it's like, that's well done, Claude, in a way. So it's obviously difficult to assess in the same way we've done before. I don't know if testing and fluid intelligence, if that's sort of looking for more potential, if that's the direction. What are your reflections there?
No, but same. I mean, it's it's obvious that people are using AI to write their CVs, and I have no problem with that at all in regards to, as long as it's showcasing what you truly can and cannot do, and as long as that is happening, fine. But if not, of course, that's a problem. But it's yeah, I don't have a good answer to, okay, what will come next, what will we do instead, because it's hard. It's super tricky to see, okay, what's what here, and what we do make out of all of this, and then how do we make good judgment calls on what you can and cannot do. And it once again, it will be trickier and trickier, and yeah, because AI, who knows how much AI has done and how much you have done in regards to the work that you've done in the past.
Yeah.
Does it matter at all?
Yeah, exactly, right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're using AI, but okay, that's yeah. So maybe people or the market will expect more from people because you have sharper tools.
Exactly. Expectations will go up, and most likely, but I don't think we talk about this enough in the HR community at all. How will we vet and judge candidates? How will we vet and deem that you're proficient, and what's what here? And I have my views. I think once again, these are tools, and I mean we clearly expect people to use mail, for example, and that's a tool, and it hopefully, I don't we can argue if it made us more efficient than just sending regular mail through the post, but still we expect people to do that. We've increased our expectations. I think the same thing will happen with AI. We will increase expectations on this is possible and this is not possible with the use of AI. But right now we're in this midst of a bit of turmoil where we, to some extent, expect it, but to some extent don't expect it, where we also think that using AI is super smart because you can do more, but also using AI is a bit of cheating and taking a shortcut. We're in this midst of where we haven't this figured out yet in most organizations. I think we need to figure it out, and that's truly a leadership question. The way I see it, it's truly something that the organization needs to define what's acceptable here and not, and people are not doing the legwork here in general.
Yeah, I think like it affects all facets of an organization, anything from organizational design to role design, and then you come into like assessment design and how we assess. So when we talk about the organizational design, do you have any hypothesis there on what they will look like? Will we see fewer jobs? Will we see one HR person per company with a lot of agents?
So I'm torn here as well. So I can see both things happening, and I think we're not at this. We're not where we have this clearly defined yet, and I think we will need to see how this will play out. But I can see it happening both ways, and I think if you look back on what's happened in the past, people are reducing jobs, and I truly think that they're doing it for the sake of AI, not because they have AI. I'm not convinced that they have figured it all out and have AI all around the organization, agents doing work. But I think they do it because they put the pressure on the organizations to start using AI. They're using reductions or headcount reductions as a way or a means to get people to use AI, because when resources are scarce, you need to make do with what you have. So I think that has happened in the past or in this year, both from Oracle, from Block, and from others as well. On the other hand, you could also see see it not happening. You could see that more people are doing more, and we just make people more efficient, make them go faster, make them maybe not work harder, but do more with less, and just keep the pace up, and that will lead to hiring even more people, because if you can hire more people, you can get even more done. Like it's I can see it play out in both ways, but I think it's important that you need to define for your organization where do we stand, what do we do. And I've seen, once again, with organizations that I've supported, I've seen both. I see more hiring because you can do more with AI, but you still need a human doing the heavy lifting or doing the parts in the back. But I also see an organization that says, we're not going to hire more HR people. We're going to be lean and mean, and we think that we can increase hiring in the rest of the organization. So we have more people out here in the departments that are productive. But for the on the admin side, we're going to keep lean. We're going to keep hiring to a minimum, replace hires or replace people that leaves, but that's it basically. So yeah, I can truly see this play out in both ways. But it needs to be intentional from the organization. That's what I think is the most important part.
And this is also interesting in terms of in terms of the AI adoption, how comfortable candidates will be with the use of AI on the company side. I know that you covered an experiment with 70,000 applicants where AI voice agents outperform human recruiters on nearly every metric, and candidates preferred it. And the recruiters had predicted the opposite. They believe that the AI will only cover automated tasks while they can focus on more important strategic tasks. What's your take on that?
But I think it was a super interesting experiment done in quite a, if I remember correctly now, it's the Philippines that it was conducted. So it's and it was a call center, which is a very confined experiment. It's not you couldn't really draw generalized patterns for every occupation, for every work, for every country in this, but still it says something from my perspective about this as well, and it also aligns with experiences that I have with organizations that have done similar things, where you have an AI interviewee or interviewer of some sort. It's optional. It's been optional for the organizations that I've been supporting. That you need to opt in as a candidate, saying like, I would like to have an AI interview. But candidate satisfaction was up in those organizations as well, because you felt like you had the opportunity to present yourself. And that was contradictory to what people assumed, or what most people assume still, which also underpins the study that you mentioned. We assume that people would feel like this is unpersonal, it's not relating to me. But then we tend to forget that most people don't even get the chance to interview. Most people don't get the chance to talk to someone at all. It's a few selected people who do that. So even when talking to an AI, that creates a feeling of that I at least got the chance to present myself in a good way. Because most people, this is generalization of course, but most people aren't that good on writing CVs, because they don't do that. Even though they use Claude, even they use ChatGPT now, they're not that super great of presenting themselves in a good way. Hence, when they get the option now to speak to someone, it's usually easier to talk about what you've done. And then that creates that feeling of, hey, I got to present myself. So I think it's great that we have that option. I think it's great that we can use technology for that, because what I found with the companies that we supported was that we found hidden diamonds in the rough, people that we wouldn't have thought about because they didn't do a great job writing CVs, but they did a great job presenting themselves. And I think that's a win-win. We get a better candidate and they get a job. So,
do you think that it will be like a split market there, where you see, I don't know, blue collar workers now, they will be the new stars of post AI, but where blue collar workers, volume hiring, that's sort of a more or better way to apply this type of front loading AI in the process, while executive search, specialist hires, that will still, their expectations will still be the human touch, the headhunting, the nurturing part.
yeah, I see both. I do believe that yes, blue collar workers or they might benefit more from this type of hiring to some extent. But I mean, also this, when we applied it in the past, we have also applied it to white collar workers, and they have the same feeling, because I mean, once again, a lot of people are applying, they don't get the chance to present themselves, and sometimes we overlook those people and say like, you would be a great fit here. So both, but of course, the main bulk here is of course the volume hirings that people do which is mostly in today's world relating to blue collar workers. But on the other hand, once again, you could have maybe automated sourcing. A lot of people are doing that. I think it's still a bit wonky, but why not in the future?
Yeah, very, very true. Like you have a Swedish company doing that now with Hubert.
Yep.
Shout out to Frederick and the team there. Seems like that's working quite well.
Yeah.
And seems like candidates are quite open to it, and definitely seeing a shift in the market. And
Yeah.
I think like a couple of years ago that felt a bit unrealistic using AI in that way, but now it seems to be more and more commoditized or more normal.
Absolutely.
And how does that affect the recruiter? And I don't know. I'm in the. I feel maybe a bit of a controversial statement, but I'm a bit sort of tired about like okay, now AI can do a lot of good things for us, and we can spend more time on talking to humans and being human to human. And I feel that sort of I don't know. It feels like something they're just saying to like mentally prepare themselves to I don't know, keep their job or whatnot. But it feels just so much fluff in that statement. It's because businesses, it's a bit sort of Darwinistic, right? They will optimize for what's working.
Yes.
So what's your take on the future of recruiters?
No, but I very much agree with your statement as well, and I think that we vastly overestimate this in the short term, but we underestimate it in the long term. And I mean that's not new. That's been the same with almost all technologies. So I mean, short term, I see little to no impact on recruiters right now, and I'm happy to be proven wrong. But I don't see AI right now taking a recruiter's job. Period. I haven't seen it. They're more effective, maybe. I mean that I've seen, but I haven't seen it taking anyone's job yet. I'm yet to see also where it comes in and swoops up all the admin in regards to recruitment.
Yeah,
don't see that happening either. Sure. Once again, there are marvelous tools that can help you, push you, support you in what you do, but you need to do the manual lifting to some extent for various reasons. And usually it's not because the models aren't capable or there aren't tools that are capable. It's more in regards to security, compliance, and knowledge from people as well. So it's a mix of combinations, but still, those are real obstacles as well. Sure, the technology might be there. That doesn't mean that we just do it, because there are other aspects to this as well. But I mean, long term, who knows? I mean, once again, this is moving fast, and the capabilities once again are there. So once we figure out that, hey, this is what we can use it for, and this is where the technology is at, who knows? And I agree with you. Like, what's human? Why do you need a human? If people really like being interviewed by an AI because they can be themselves more, it's less biased than I am. Why should I use a human recruiter to do the interview? Is there a rule somewhere that it needs to be done by a human? Well, then of course you need to do it it needs to be done by a human. But if not, why? And I think we need to start thinking about that as well. There's no self-fulfilling rule that we need to obey with, that hiring needs to be done in this and this and this and that way. So we need to rethink long term. How do we want it? And I think it's going to land more on that. How do our organization view hiring?
Yeah.
What's in it for us? And also to add to that, I mean, the assumption then is that we need humans all in organizations to the same extent that we do right now. Because if we're not hiring humans, we need to hire then or onboard agents, for example. And I was at HR Tech the other week. The winner of the pitch fest that I was part of was an agent onboarding solution, where you basically you let them hire and onboard agents for you. So, I mean, this whole thing, and it's the same for HR in general. It's based on the assumption that humans will still be needed to the same extent as we do today. And once again, I'm not sure, because who knows? But yeah, I'm just saying that we should also question that assumption. If hiring goes down in general because we can do more with less and we need less people, then of course hiring will be impacted.
Mm.
That's not to say that hiring then will change or shift. It's just that, might be less of hiring.
Yeah. Good reflections, and of course difficult to predict, but food for thought, definitely. And there's also we talked a bit about tool or model selection, and you've also written that HR has passed the tool selection to IT, basically. And what do you see the cost of that?
But the biggest cost is lack of adoption. And I mean, if you look at all the different reports that has been released this year, and one of the tests that I do when a new model is released is that I have 15 reports, and I update that quite frequently. I let an AI analyze that, not from like, oh, where's the similarities, but truly regressive analysis on those papers. And I did that last week with when ChatGPT 5.5 was released, so 5.5 Pro analyzed that as well. And what it clearly points out, which I so much agree with as well, is that when this is not seen as a leadership question, hence also an HR question, at least from my point of view, what happens is that adoption is hindered. We don't see AI adoption happening in those organizations, basically. But if you treat it as an IT project, you can be pretty certain that all that is going to happen is that the ones who are keen on technology, that understands it and can see their own individual benefits from it, they will adopt it and they will run with it and they will use it. They will be efficient. But there will be an increasing gap in organizations where you have those people as front runners doing all the cool stuff with AI, and then you will have the bulk part of people still trying to figure out what to do with it. And hence, organizations as a whole will not benefit from it. And also what I've seen happening is that when you have that discrepancy where the organization is not supporting individuals or just in general supporting AI adoption in the organization, the people who are front runners, they will get tired and they will leave because they're not getting any support. Sure, they can be superstars for a quarter or two, but once they figured out that, you know what, this organization is not moving fast enough, and I'm not getting the development that I need here, they will eventually move to a place where you are allowed to use AI tools, where it's supported to use AI tools, where your manager is supportive of that as well, where your manager is challenging you on your use of AI, both when you're not using it and when you're overusing it. And they will leave to an organization that supports that as well. And if you also look at data, at least in Sweden, it's becoming more and more prevalent that if your organization is not supporting the use of AI, both with tooling but also with organizational support, you're more likely to leave than if it does. So, I mean, this will have an organizational impact if not HR is here. But still, most HR people are shying away from that responsibility, saying this is an IT project. And I hear it every single week that it's hard to talk to IT, and IT is running with this as well. And I understand that, but it's also crucial that we elbow our way into those rooms, to those conversations. And it's crucial for the organization. The organization might not even realize that HR needs to be there, but it's still super crucial that we do. And hence we need to be grounded and proficient and secure in, I know my stuff here, and we do. I'm a firm believer that we have most of the knowledge that we need already. We need, of course, some AI knowledge, but the basic knowledge that we need is change management, and most HR people know change management by heart.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What do you see as like the ideal setup for AI implementation in a way? And I'll give you a bit of a, I don't know, not a quiz, but I'll give you an access to my brain, and the good and the bad, or the problems that I'm seeing now. Like we're at Ambi, we're a team of 60 people, consultants working in HR. People are quite AI interested in a way, and we have some superstars that are going deep on this. And so a team of 5 or 6 people that are doing more cutting edge stuff and testing. And we want to roll that out to the rest of our organization, so that people that are maybe not like using the classical models, but not proficient users in a way. Like, how would you address that type of rollout situation? Do you see that as like small experiments where we just sort of train on, okay, this is a new hack, try to test this? Or do you see like we go to an offsite 2 days, we do full reskilling? Like, what's the optimal rollout?
It's so organizational dependent on how you do it. My general advice would not be to do a big offsite and then do AI adoption in that offsite. It's to get it in the line of work. Like the closer you can be to your daily problems, the closer you can be on driving AI adoption in your day-to-day operations, the better. And for me, that always starts with managers, because managers are hopefully present during the days, and they can be supportive. So my focus is now always to support managers first and foremost. How do you lead in this world, and to build their proficiency in the tools. And then, in order for that to be successful, you need to have alignment from the top. You need to have if not the board, then at least the executive management team super clear on why are we doing this? What's the purpose for the rollout? Why are we using AI? What's the true why here? Is it because we want to increase margin, do more with less, to have better working conditions, to be in the forefront, whatever it might be? But that needs to be clearly articulated, so you can look back as a manager and say, like, this is why we're doing it. Because if you don't have that clear why, people will fill out the blanks themselves. And they read the headlines, they see, hey, the why here is that you're going to make me redundant because you're going to take my knowledge, train an AI on it, and then off you go. So you need to have alignment from the top down. But then my best advice would be to do shorter interventions over time. It's better with 2 hours every other week than 8 hours on one single day, because it's super easy to get people excited. I have no problem at all going into a workshop and get people super excited in the workshop and say, oh, great, let's use AI. I find it marvelous. It's so much value back to me. But then your everyday hits you in the face, and usually people, they have deadlines, they have things they need to do, and they forget that, oh, you know what, I need to change the way I work, because this is, once again, you need to change your way you operate your day-to-day. And thus, those hours that you spent in that workshop, those 8 hours or whatever it was, some people, as said, will just say, perfect, great, and run with it and use it. But most people will say, that was great, I didn't change a thing afterwards. So make it in the line of work. It's so much better, so much more efficient, so much more cost efficient, better long term than having one big workshop.
Makes sense. And we're doing all of these efforts to secure rollout and to make sure that we're moving the needle. But how? And then we try to think, how do we actually measure AI adoption in a way? And then you don't want to necessarily like implement vanity metrics that are not because you can measure a lot of stuff, but does it actually matter in a way? So I don't know, you work with a lot of companies. Do you measure the adoption?
Yep.
Is it possible to measure it? And like, how is it survey based, or how do you do it in a good way?
Different ways, but what I like the most is to connect it back to something tangible, something concrete, something that you already do. Because AI for me, AI is a tool. It's not a self-fulfilling prophecy that you should use AI everywhere and you should use it a lot. For me, it's once again connecting it back to the why. Why are we doing this? But for most organizations, it has to do with some kind of revenue increase, margin increase, whatever it might be, and that's what you measure then. It's a long-term measurement. So you need to have this long-term agnostic thinking around, this is why we're doing, and this is the benefit we want to see. But ultimately, I mean, if you don't move the needles truly for your business, why bother? It's once again, you could do it for the sake of, okay, we want to be ready for the future, whatever it might be. Then you need to act accordingly. But for most organizations, I would guess at least, it has to do whether you want to increase business margins or business profits. Hence, that's the metric that I advise, and that's the metric that we follow in a lot of organizations that I support as well. Then on top of that, of course, you do self-reporting, or we usually do surveys in various shapes and forms. self-reporting, but also looking at actual usage. From all the major players, you can get statistics on how many people are using it as well. But those alone, they will only tell you that people are in the tool. You have no clue if it's moving the needle. You can, of course, you can see it's great. Copilot usage is up from 60 to 70%. Great. Is it? What about if people are using it in the wrong way? They're just asking questions, but they have nothing to tell or nothing to show for it. So for me, it's super important that you also connect it to overarching business objectives. So that's how I measure it usually.
Like a pyramid in a way. On top, you would have the EBITDA or top line, and then you would have leading metrics such as usage or adoption. And okay, no, but that's great. You've also mentioned that your AI agent Winston is reaching out proactively with briefings after it learned your patterns. And if an AI team wanted to move from using tools to running agents, what's the first experiment worth trying?
The first experiment is not to create a Winston. He's an open claw, and I highly advise against anyone doing that. No, but I mean, it's once again, it's going back to the tools that you have. If you're in Copilot, then try building an agent in Copilot. If you're in ChatGPT, try building a custom GPT as a first step. And then in Google, you have Workspace Studio, which is actually the best of the, I would say right now, of the easy ways of building agents. Claude has skills that is sort of agentic-like. So you can also easily build something there. But the hard part of building agents is not the agent building itself. The hard part is defining what should agent do, what's the outcome that you're looking for, and what's the purpose of the agent. That's usually way harder than building the actual agent. So it's the first step. Sit down, think hard and thorough. What am I solving for here? What's the purpose of the agent? And then that's the first step, basically. And after that, I mean, if you can then go into whatever model and define, I want to build an agent. This is the outcome. This is what we do. This is the process. They will help you and guide you on how to build it.
And lastly, in terms of any hidden gems that you have, any tools? Obviously, you mentioned that it's a race between the models, but are you using any third-party tools that are working well to solve a specific problem that you have? I don't know if it's like Whisperflow for voice or any other tools that you would recommend others to use.
But I mean, Whisperflow is magically it's magic. So I use it all the time because I dictate a lot. It's a dictation tool that you have on your computer. But I mean, there's so much tools that I use that I truly love. But my go-to, the runner that I have for almost anything, is Claude Cowork. That's the core of what I do now as well. And now I switched between Codex and Claude Cowork because Codex got an update last week, and as mentioned. But that's the center. And my aim now, or what I'm doing right now, is to connect different parts into that. So that's what I try to do. I try to connect different tools into that, so I can be in that, because if I can be in one interface, that saves me a bunch of time. So that's what I try to do first and foremost, more than anything. I try to be in the tool that I already have, which is now then Cowork.
Gives me some comfort on the Claude play that we decided to go with, Johannes.
I mean, anything that you do beyond Copilot, I would say, is great. Copilot will catch up sooner or later, but it's the most sort of, it's the less it's not as advanced as many of the other tools.
Cool. Thank you so much, Johannes. It's a pleasure as always talking to you. For those who don't follow Johannes, please do on LinkedIn. You'll get smarter by every post. So pleasure again, Johannes. Thank you so much for joining the ramp.
Likewise. Thank you for having me.